Hello, and welcome to the Reading After Bedtime podcast. We're part cozy book club, part chaotic mom chat, and 100% after bedtime energy. I'm Allyson.
And I'm Becca. We're two friends who met in college who talk about our favorite books, authors, tropes, trying to squeeze in reading among the craziness that is motherhood, and so much more.
This is a judgment-free space for two busy moms to dive into the books we love, the authors who inspire us, and the tropes that keep us turning the pages.
Today's show of Reading After Bedtime is November Slump. We're getting out of our reading slumps, especially after reading a 5-star book, or after a bunch of mid-books, or around the holidays.
Before we jump in, though, we would love to connect with you on socials. Use the Reading After Bedtime podcast handle to find us on Instagram and YouTube, and Reading After Bedtime pod on TikTok. Links are also in the show notes.
While your phone is in your hand, we would be so thankful for an honest 5-star review. We'd also be very thankful if you hit subscribe on YouTube or follow on Spotify. It's truly the quickest and easiest way to help our small podcast. So today we are going to be talking about reading slumps. And I will say I'm probably one of the worst peoples when it comes to reading slumps because I kind of force myself out of them.
Oh, I'm the opposite.
So before we get into it, what is a reading slump to you?
It's when I don't feel like reading, or like I am stuck in the last book that I read. Like I just cannot stop thinking about it. Sometimes I've read too much and I'm a little burnt out and I want to do literally anything else than sit there with a book. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that cause one for me, but the most brutal ones are probably the ones where I'm just like stuck in the last world because I'm constantly comparing and constantly trying to find it again, and that's just not fair to the future books.
How dare you with the future books? Yeah. So I actually had to look up a definition because in my head I'm like, oh, a reading slump is, when I finish a book and I don't know what to read next. I don't know which book sounds interesting. I might crochet more. I might do another like hobby a little bit more, but I don't have the ambition to pick up another book where usually I have an idea of what I'm going to read next. So according to an article from the Today Show, a reading slump is a period of disinterest in books, can be a deflating or prolonged experience. So I think for my reading slumps, it's more a deflating period of time versus being prolonged. I don't usually go very long in between books.
Oh, mine are prolonged.
But I very much feel like deflated and not an interest to read. So a book that if I'm into it really, really well, might take me a day or two to read, instead takes me about a week. Even though it might be a good book, I'm not really feeling the reading vibe. So
yeah, not feeling the reading vibe. I feel like that about sums it up. No matter how you get there, no matter like how it looks for you, it's just you're not feeling that vibe.
Yeah, that vibe. So when do you notice your big book slumps happening?
My biggest one is it's been like a great 5-star series. I've been immersed in it. Like I haven't looked up, I haven't read anything else, I haven't been interested in anything else, and I want to go and live there, and I'm going to pack up my bags immediately because that's when I'm comparing to the new books, and I just can't get out of the world, and my brain can't make that shift to somewhere else. I also get it after a string of like meh books, or when motherhood and life is just hitting. I'm too busy, I'm stressed, I'm tired, and I don't want to do anything but rot away in my bed.
Yeah, I really see my book slumps happening when it's a really long fantasy series or just a really long fantasy book, because when you get to 800 to 1,000 pages of a book, it just can be so emotionally impactful, especially if it's a roller coaster of a book and you're like going through the emotions. Honestly, think Throne of Glass, especially Kingdom of Ash. That
That
book
one's
was
a
a roller
killer.
coaster. Um, Especially because of how I read it. And I read, not Tower of Dawn, the one that comes before that.
Empire of Storms.
Empire of Storms. You read that one and it ends a certain way, and then you have to get through uh, Tower of Dawn, and then you
Tandem
go through
read.
like, no, I can't do that.
Oh, I
And then you
tandem
go
read. I'm so
through
glad I did.
like, yeah, and then you go through a roller coaster of Kingdom of Ash, which is again so many ups and downs. Um, it really does, like those emotionally impactful series or books in general tend to put me in a reading slump. Or if I'm looking forward to a book and I've looked forward to this book, it's been hyped, I'm excited, and then it's just and I'm like, if I DNF it, and then I'm like, I don't even want to try to read another one because I was disappointed of this book. So why am I going to read another book? It takes a little bit of coaxing from myself to pick the next book. So, but what are your go-to rereads that promise to pull you out of a slump? Or actually,
Uh,
first, do you reread to pull yourself out of a slump?
I either don't read at all or I reread like a comfort read. And usually my first grab is the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. Um, or I'll listen to the graphic audio of them just because, like, yeah, they're heavy and there's a lot in there, but I've listened and read it so many times now that, like, I know what's happening. It doesn't emotionally impact me like
Yeah.
Kingdom of Ash does when you first read it. So it's a lot simpler of a
Yeah.
read now. And, like, especially listening to, like, the dramatic audios, whatever those are called,
Yes.
those seem to help.
I did those for Fourth Wing when I reread
Mm-hmm.
the first one and Iron Flame, and I was so glad I did. So I might
Same.
have to reread Akatar that way because I've read it once. I enjoyed it, but I haven't read it since 2019, and we were talking about this before the podcast. So I kind of want to go in with new eyes, especially since I've read other series that I really enjoy in the fantasy romance romantasy genre. So, for me, my rereads, I have two of them. One of them is the Fourth Wing series. I'll reread those. And when I reread, I usually do audio, and I think we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the second one is a series I read a few years ago. Like, maybe I think it was like first year teaching. So it's been over
Like a decade.
10 years. That was in 2014, 2015. So it's been a decade. But that is the Vampire Academy series and by Rochelle Mead. And I believe they're classified as YA. But when I tell you the slow burn of these two characters, and I will also say I am one of my favorite movies, my guilty pleasures is the Vampire Academy movie. It's not a good movie at all. In my opinion, this is strictly my opinion. I have not watched the series. I don't remember what platform it was on. It might have been Amazon Prime. I did not watch the TV series, but I love rewatching the movie of Vampire Academy because it's so just cringy and it's just a comfort watch. But the book series is actually one of my favorites. So I love rereading those when I really am just in need of a good a series to pull me out, a good reread. So here's the question we were talking about. When you reread your favorites to get out of a slump, what do you use to reread? Are you reading them physically, ebook, or audio?
Oh, that really depends. I don't own Akatar on ebook, so I'm not using my Kindle. Um, if I have time to sit down and read a physical book, I will. I have the pretty copies of that, so sometimes just the pretty sprayed edges help.
I get that.
Otherwise, if I'm just doing it like during nap time or whatever, then it's definitely an audiobook.
Yeah. I tend to do rereads with audiobook, especially like Fourth Wing when I can get it out of the library or using I think it's Hoopla is the
Hoopla,
app.
yeah.
Yeah, that I get to get the dramatized versions. Then I'll listen to the audiobook. I also use Spotify now to listen to audiobooks because with their premium membership, you get like 15 hours a month to listen to audiobooks, and they have certain ones. So I'll listen to some of them that way. And this is not sponsored. They do not sponsor us, by the way. So this is just what
No.
I have and what I use. I also use Libby to get audiobooks sometimes, but when I'm like really reaching for them, I usually do Hoopla because I get it from the library and I don't have to wait for it to come like to be checked out to me since it is open license. No, I don't know if that's a correct term. It's multiple people can listen to it at the same time. You're not checking out just one book license. So
Right, no wait list.
no wait list, yes. But that's usually how I like it, mainly because if I'm reading it a physical copy, I'll sit there and I'll already know what to do. So I kind of like lose focus and I like flip. I'm more skimming than actually reading. Whereas with an audiobook, I can like put it on 1.5 or 2 and be driving somewhere or like walking on a treadmill or walking with my son. So I can just kind of zone out. No stitches. So, do you have a genre that pulls you out of a slump or puts you in a slump?
Um, In a Slump is probably a heavy fantasy romantasy series just because I've gotten so immersed in it for so long, and to get pulled out, usually I have to switch, like a palette cleanser. I have to switch to a different genre. And usually I pick just like a contemporary romance, an easy read, but those will put me in a slump too if they're not so great and I'm kind of disappointed in it. So I have to kind of be careful with what I'm picking. And usually I try to stick with tried and trues there. So I kind of know what I'm getting into.
Yeah, I usually fantasies are the ones that put me into slumps, mainly because they're usually the longest series. There's usually more than one book in them, so that tends to put me in a slump. But to get out of them, I'm the same way. I have to go to contemporary romance or I will go into something that has a little bit more spice. That's just, like you said, a palate cleanser. It's a different type of writing and a different, focus. And so usually it's a little bit more heavy on the two characters instead of the world, whereas fantasy is so much world building and you have usually like 10 characters that you're like invested in and you're just like who's going to die next in whereas in a contemporary romance I don't have to worry about that usually. I'm going to say
True.
usually but it's definitely one of those palette cleansers or those really good just 300-page romance. And it could be a mafia romance, it could be a sports romance, it can be a holiday romance, just those 300 sweet spot, maybe 400 page books that just it's so much, it's just nice after refreshing after a long series. So, so we kind of talked about this before, but sorry, we're going through like questions and answering this, and it's not very conversational. But um, thinking about your reading slumps and what they look like, uh, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but do you find yourself, what does it look like? Like, do you just can't bring yourself to read? Do you just not want to pick a book? Does nothing catch your interest? Do you try to read and come back to it?
All of the above.
Okay. Yeah.
Usually though I'm guilty of just like letting it happen and not reading, and then I don't pick up a book for 6 months. And then
Oh, wow.
something really trendy comes along. I'm like, yeah, I need to read that. And then I have to wait for months on the library. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
usually I just don't read. Nothing sounds interesting. I'm burnt out. I want to do literally anything else. I miss other hobbies. So I usually just stop.
Yeah. I usually, honestly, whenever I have a book slump that happens, I usually go pick another book right off the bat and it just sits next to me. Like it sits on my mantle. It sits because, toddler hands, we have to keep the books out of his reach. It'll sit on the mantle. It will, I'll have my Kindle next to me, but I will not touch it. And I'll just have it sitting there. There's times where I'll start a book and I'll read like one chapter and then I'll switch to another book. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to read that. I'm going to read something else. Or I'll go in and I'm like, I don't want to read. I'm going to crochet tonight. Like, and it's almost like a hyperfixation of I'm going to go crochet 2 or 3 blankets before I pick up another book.
Gosh.
Not really. It's like one blanket, because if you are a crocheter, you know how long a blanket takes to do. And then sometimes it's just like, this is when I've DNF'd a book and I look back and I'm like, wait, why did I DNF this? Like, was I just not into it? Did I just like, why did I put it to the side? I did that recently and I was just like, I don't remember why I didn't want to read this. I stopped. So what is it? And I kind of have to bring myself back to it and like retry it. So I've noticed that sometimes if I've tried to go back to back with fantasy books, it tends to put me in a slump faster than if I just like read a fantasy and then read a romance and then read a fantasy and then read a romance. Just to keep the rhythm of everything. So, but I think the longest reading slump I've had was like 2 months in recent years. And honestly, a lot of times it's like after the holidays. It's January and February. I don't, I just get tired and with all the holiday stuff, and I just don't really read, or it takes me forever to finish a book. But I do remember, like, especially in college, I did not read as much as I do now.
I don't think I touched any. Touched a couple in college.
Yeah, I was thinking about that and I'm like, I know I had books. I know I bought books. I don't remember reading as much as I do now.
We were busy.
We were busy. There were other things going on. Same with teaching. Like when I was teaching and in the classroom, I didn't really have a whole lot of time to read. I do know I read, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like I read now, which can also be said because I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like I have a little bit of time sometimes to, during nap time or bedtime to read. And I'm not in my 20s going out at night. I'm more likely to be in bed by 10 than going out to the club. So,
Yeah.
I feel like I would, if I try to have a social life after bedtime, I would be in more of a slump than I would if I read all these fantasy books. So I'll take my reading slumps for the win.
Your reading slump is short compared to mine.
Yeah.
So the longest one for me, I feel like, was a year or two. In my defense, I was pregnant with a complicated pregnancy and stressed, and then I had a baby and I was sleep deprived,
Yeah.
and I just didn't mentally have it in me to dive into any heavy fantasy. And I tried to pick up a couple romance books, but I didn't have the focus. I'd fall asleep, or the baby would do something, or my brain has gone squirrely somewhere else. I was just so sleep deprived. I did not have that attention span. So it was probably a
Yeah.
couple of years. I do remember I squeezed in the Third Crescent City, House of Flame and
Oh,
Shadow,
I'm
because
sorry.
I was so
Sorry.
excited for that one. Um,
Yeah.
and then I squeezed in, I'm pretty sure Onyx Storm when she was really little.
But I will also say this was your second kid. So
It
like it
was.
wasn't just like I feel like for me I still was able to squeeze in reading because I only had one. I only have one. Um and I will say he was the unicorn baby. He was a sleeper and it was great.
Oh, mine are not.
Um
Mine is currently giving my
and
husband a headache.
yeah. So it was one of those like I didn't go in a reading slump. I didn't get as much reading as I would have if I didn't have a child, but it wasn't the same as you're talking about because I want you to give yourself some grace because you had two and that is hard.
I mean, she's older now. It's still hard.
Yeah,
It's just a
it's still
different hard.
But again, there's a reason why some of us choose to have be one and done. And
We
it's
were very
because
close.
we see your sacrifice and we honor that by not having another. And we appreciate you for populating the earth, but I could not do another one.
No, we're done.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely one of those like having kids and trying to read, it's you either dive in because it's something really quiet to do, especially if they're only taking contact naps or they're only like you are nap trapped. That was the
Usually I
time I would
napped with
read.
her, and I know that's a no-no,
Oh,
but I
I
did.
could not. My child, because my child would not, we tried really hard to keep him out of our bed. And so
Oh, yeah,
I
I
can't
was in the
nap.
chair in her room.
I can't, I will say I did not have a recliner in his room for that reason. I kind of
Yeah,
wish I
that's,
did because
yeah.
it would have been nice on the few occasions I had to sit in a rocking chair for, well, it was a sliding chair, but for 3 hours and your butt goes numb.
Yeah,
And
no,
you're
we
just like,
purposely bought a small recliner. Not for that reason, but it turned into
yeah.
that reason.
There were a few times I tried really hard to like move him into the living room, and there was actually like when he was really little, we would do nap time, just contact nap in the living room, and it would be fine. But when we really tried to move nap time into his crib, it was one of those that I was like, oh, I should have paid a little bit more for the comfy chair because my buttocks would have really, really, really helped. Like, really
I know.
appreciated it.
That's my, when moms ask me, what's the one thing you're like so glad you bought? I'm like, a recliner. A small
Yeah,
recliner for their room. Like, you're going to be
he
in there.
definitely. There's definitely some things that I'm like, okay, I'm really glad. Like, we bought his crib, and when we bought his crib, we bought all the accessories, oh, not accessories, but like we bought the toddler railing that goes with it, and we bought the it transforms into a full bed too, and we bought that. And so
Oh,
having
wow.
it all ready, like in the closet, ready to go, I'm like, okay, that's one stress I don't have to worry about. So
We did
that
that with my
was probably
son.
ours. Yeah.
And it did not transition into a full, just the toddler bed. And he like
Okay.
stretched out of that so fast that it was like pointless to buy that toddler railing, because it was just like, as soon as we switched it, we had maybe 6 months before we were buying him
Yeah.
like an actual bed. So we did
Yeah.
not do that with my daughter. We just bought the cheap, like
Yeah.
$100 crib, plain,
No, I
like learned our lesson.
oh my we We bought, because I was going to be that aesthetic, like I want his room to
Everyone.
look beautiful and everything match, and it's going to be a nursery. That didn't happen. Because we bought the crib and we bought the dresser that went with it, and then we also bought a changing table like topper for it. Well, what we didn't realize is that the dresser that we bought in April, that was supposed to be delivered in July, was going to be pushed even more to not being delivered till September. And when I called in August, it was supposed to be delivered in August. It got pushed back. When I called, it was not going to be delivered till December.
Oh my gosh. And you were doing September, right?
I was doing September. So we returned the dress. We asked for our money back and they did. They gave it, we had no problems. They canceled our order and we went to IKEA and got a dresser, and we love that dresser. Like, it's great. But I will say I have a natural wood crib next to a white bookcase, next to a gray dresser. And
Kids
you
tear
know
stuff
what?
up anyways.
It's perfectly good. And he has no care in the world. He does not care. And I've learned to not care, because in the end, he's going to want to do whatever he wants in his room when he's old enough. So I just have to let that go. But back to reading slumps.
Now that we got on a tangent, it's late at night. Sorry.
I love tangents, so that's how you get the interesting stories.
True.
So, okay. So the next question we have is, what books put you in a slump? And I'm going to classify this. There are good slumps and there are bad slumps. So if you want to like classify them, you can, but you don't
I don't
have
know
to.
if I have any bad slump ones, because usually I want to like wipe my hands of the bad book and quickly get into something that's going to make me feel good. The good slumps, though, Throne of Glass, Sarah J. Maas, we've talked about this. Fourth Wing, Rebecca Yarros, and really, really, I know I'm basic. Everyone hears this, but yes, it's me too. Akatar, Sarah J. Maas. Like, that became my new personality. I wanted to live in Valaris. I wanted to walk down the rainbow. I wanted to do like everything. I wanted to eat in that restaurant. I wanted to go shopping at the Weaver Place lady. Like, I even wanted to go visit the middle and see the little cottage from the Creepy Weaver.
Just sip some tea.
Do it all. Yeah. Heck, I even wanted to go see that random starlight pool in the spring court. Like, tell me, why is that there? Don't get me started on that one. That one put me in the worst slump. Let me tell you. As soon as I finished, though, and I read chapter 54, I'm not going to spoil anything if you haven't read it, but if you know, you know. I finished the series and immediately started over with chapter 54 of A Court of Mist and Fury in mind, to see all of those little Easter eggs that were dropped and revealed. And like, when I tell you, I was like, oh my God, this is like the greatest thing.
It was, we should
fun,
do an
and
episode of me rereading them, because it's been so long, because you know that book like front and back.
I do.
Like, I know a little bit, but you know it like cover to cover. So it's one of those, I'm like, okay, maybe we should do an episode of that, and just
Becca rereads Akatar.
Yeah, Becca
Allyson
rereads
laughs
Akatar.
at her.
Yeah, exactly. Do all my reactions. So for me, Throne of Glass was a big one, because I will say there is so much hype with Throne of Glass. And I did not get it in the first 3 books.
Same. The first one was okay. I didn't mind that one.
The first one was okay. I was just like, okay, I don't see where this is going.
Are we talking First One Assassin's Blade, though, or Throne of Glass?
No. So I read Throne of Glass, and then I read the second one, Crown of Midnight, and then I read Assassin's Blade.
Okay.
And then I went into Air of Fire. I think
So
that's
you got your
the one.
feelings hurt real bad.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. I wasn't as. I kind of knew who she would end up with, anyways. And so,
Oh, I
spoiler
wasn't
warning: if
spoiled
you
at
don't,
all.
if you uh have not read Throne of Glass and you want to read it without any spoilers, I'm going to tell you to hit the fast forward button. Sorry, I have a hair like hey, my nose. Hit the fast forward button about 2 minutes and then I'll be done. So I was not. I was like, okay, that's sad. Sam died. You kind of know it already that he's
I
not.
didn't know.
You did. How did you not know he's not around?
I read it first before Throne of Glass. I got my
You read
feelings hurt.
first? No, that's not how because you're supposed to look at it. I actually looked at what Sarah J. Maas said, like which way to read it. And she said to read it third because it's like a back memory.
Oh, I got my feelings hurt bad.
Yeah. See, and I didn't because I already knew something happened. So, and I was also like, I was Team Rowan, like all the way, like ever since Air of Fire, and he was an ass in that book.
Was.
But I loved him.
See, I like Dorian,
And
and I still like Dorian with who Dorian ended up.
Oh yeah, yes. Okay, no more
We gotta
spoilers
stop
for
though.
that.
We're at 2 minutes.
So that was Throne of Glass, especially with how intense it gets. Another one was A Ruin of Roses. It's part of the Deliciously Dark Fairy Tales by K.F. Brin. Ooh, this book. Actually, this whole series. I was so captivated. Came to a point at one point because it's about dragon shifters, which, is not a spoiler. At one point, my husband's like, I can't sleep. Tell me a story. And so I start trying to explain this story to him while we're in bed trying to go to sleep. And he's just looking at me like, what are you talking about? Because it's so like, if you know, like if you read books, fantasy books, like how intricate these are. And then you start talking about dragon shifters, and someone who does not read, who is a non-reader, looks at you and just goes, what are you doing? Like, what?
Have you seen that meme from, I think it's a TV show where he's like talking about his conspiracy theories and there's all the papers in front of a whiteboard with the strings?
Yeah.
That's how I feel talking to my husband. Yeah. He humors me. He's like,
My husband does now, but now it's even funnier because I'm like, oh, I need to tell you about this book. And he'll go, is it about dragon shifters? And I'm like, no. Because another spoiler alert for this one. So again, fast forward to only like 15 seconds. But in the book, it ends up, there are 2 dragon shifters and they end up having in the sky. And so that's the part I decided to tell my husband about because that was the part I was reading. And my husband's like, what are you reading? And so, but I did. There were 4 books that were part of the one couple, and they're so good. I'm telling you, they have Sarah J. Maas like feels a lot more spicy. Like I want to say the first one starts with her walking into a castle and there's just people having fun.
Woohoo!
So, and that's like the first chapter, so that's not really a spoiler, but maybe not the first chapter, but first few chapters. But really highly recommend that book or that series. And then the last 2 of that series also is it's set in that world, but it's a different couple. Um, the next one is Savage Lands, which is one I've recommended on this podcast before, on one of our reels, and that's by Sarah Marie Brown. Oh, again, spice is delicious spice mixed in with actual plot. Like, and it takes place in Budapest, which I've never really. It was kind of cool that it was a real place, but it has all these like fae and fantasy elements, and so that one put me. That one was, I want to say, a 8 book series, 7 or 8 book series. That one put me in a little bit of a slump. And then the series Fate Calls or The Elf Queen by J.M. Curl. And the last one specifically, Fate Calls the Elf Queen. That one put me in a slump because of where it ended. It ended on a cliffhanger, and the next book was not to be released yet.
That's the
And
worst.
I was mad. She
Like
finally
the post
released
Iron
it. Yeah.
Flame weight.
Yes. And I'm just like, so, and I hate when I have to wait for a book because then I have all these other books on my TBR list and I'm like, oh, now I have to remember what was in the last book. Like, so, and these books are like chunky. So those were my good slumps. Those are books that were just amazing series that I just could not get past. I have 2 bad slumps. The first one is, and it's not because the book's bad. They just weren't books for me. They were like very average reads for me. The first one was the Bewitched and Bespelled by Laura Talassi or Talassa. She wrote the Bargainer series as well. And it was a really interesting book. I think it had a lot of potential, but it kind of fell flat. And there was so much hype about it that I was really, really, really looking forward to it. And it just, and then I've talked about this one, Zodiac Academy. The last one that I fully read, Fated Throne, was just too much. It was too many points of view, too much going on. I was like, I don't care about this character. I want more from this character. And then it's like one bad thing happens after another, after another. And I'm like, it's a 9-book series. Like, I don't, and the books don't get shorter. Like, they're, chunks.
Pages.
And I'm just like, I got so tired after that one. I'm like, I don't want to read again. Like, I don't want another book like this. So those were what I'm calling my bad slumps. They're not bad. Like I said, they're not bad books. They're just not books I was overly engaged in. So do you find yourself, sorry. Do you find that you get into reading slumps around the holidays?
Big time, and it's not book induced, it's life induced. So my husband's favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. So I always
So weird.
do up Thanksgiving. He loves turkey. And I'm like,
Oh,
I know.
see, my husband's the exact opposite. So I don't understand that. Like, we even were talking today that our families are like not really doing anything for Thanksgiving. So he's like, so we're getting brisket for Thanksgiving, right? And I was like, maybe.
That's what my family does for Christmas because, we're from Texas. We eat brisket. So, yeah, he loves Thanksgiving, so I always have to do up Thanksgiving. I'm a Christmas person, so we've got 2 young kids. We're always doing up Christmas. And in between all of that, we have a birthday. So we have family in and out of town for the birthday, and it doesn't always line up. And so, like, one person leaves, another person comes, and it's just like, I feel like I'm constantly playing hostess, which I don't want to complain about. Like, I love seeing family, but it does, after a while, get exhausting.
Well, and it takes time out of your normal downtime you don't
Yeah.
have because you're entertaining family.
Exactly.
I know for me, I don't know if it's necessarily a reading slump during the holidays because, like I said, my family Thanksgiving's a hit or miss. It's really just one day for us. We don't travel a whole lot unless we're going down to see my sister. But this year she's expecting her second, so we're not going down for Thanksgiving. And because of that, I'm like, oh, I have more time to read because if it's just one day, it's not a lot of traveling. It's more just being at home. But I am a huge Christmas fan.
Hmm.
That is my holiday. I try to drag my husband out and my son out to do all things Christmas. And because of that, I was like, okay, I probably won't be reading a whole bunch in December. But now that we have our podcast, I will be reading a little bit more.
I know it's gonna have to hold me accountable.
Yeah. But it's definitely one of those, it kind of goes back and forth, but usually it's the after holiday slump that gets me is like everything's so Christmassy and so fun and so laid back. And then everything comes back into, real life after Christmas and after my husband's home for a week because of what he does in between Christmas and New Year's. It's one of those, it's like, oh, okay, now we're back to the real world. Let's get back into a schedule. And that tends to put me more into a slump than uh, the actual holidays.
I'm recovering afterwards, man. It bleeds.
Yeah, I get it. I think it hit me more when I was working. Now it doesn't usually hit me as much. But I say that, and it could be different this year. Do you feel like you're being burnt out of reading is different than being in a reading slump?
Yeah. If I'm burnt out from reading, I did it to myself. It's definitely self-inflicted. I have gone too hard for too long. I have just read back to back to back. It's like you finish one book and you immediately go to the shelf and you pick up another.
So
That's
you're saying you're
definitely
reading like
my fault.
Becca.
Yeah. Which I was doing before I got pregnant, but
Yeah.
she's still so little that I can't do that still just
Yeah.
yet. My son was probably 3 or 4 when I was 4 or 5, maybe 3 to 5. I don't know. When I was reading, nah, 3 or 4. When I was reading that quickly, he was more independent. He was in preschool part time. Um, he was sleeping all night. He was easier to get to bed.
Um,
Like my daughter took 2.5 hours to get to bed tonight. So it's just
I,
one of those things. Like I have to let it roll off my back and I can't let it stress me out. Otherwise,
yeah.
I'm taking it out on them. So, what question was I answering? I don't even remember anymore.
Uh, being burnt out versus a reading
Oh,
slump.
yeah. So, yeah, it's definitely my fault if I'm burnt out. So, I haven't been burnt out so much lately because I am just getting back into it. Um, but yeah, a reading slump is totally different. Like, I run the risk of being thrown into a reading slump from a book at any point in time. There's no telling what will do it, when we'll do it. And it'll be interesting when that
Yeah.
happens. Trying to keep up with our
Yeah.
schedule.
I notice a lot of times when I'm in a reading slump or I tend to pick what books I want to read. And so I'm a part of a book club. And so I have that usually for a month read and then, doing the books for a podcast. And I'm like, okay, which one can I like? Which one can go? Which one am I not going to feel too bad about? And which one do I really, really, really want to read? And there's been times in the past where like I just haven't gotten to the book club book and it's okay. And I have to remind myself not to feel bad about that because that's when I get into burnout, is when I am forcing myself to read and not doing anything else. And when I want to do other things. And so I usually, in order not to get burnt out, I have to make sure that I'm, you know, not just sitting at home and reading and, you know, during nap time, I'm actually getting other stuff done
Hmm.
so that the burnout doesn't fall into place. Reading slump is definitely one of those. It's book induced, whereas burnt out is me induced, and usually it's a sign that I need to take a step back and look at my mental health because one of the hardest parts, one of the things I've noticed about myself is I tend to use reading as an escape, which is a great thing, but it can also be detrimental to my health and my relationships around me. So, usually when I start finding it where I'm getting to the point of burnout is because my depression or something really hits hard and I'm using it to escape reality instead of actually enjoying it. So, go ahead.
So, yeah, I don't remember what I was going to say, so go ahead.
Yeah, y'all, it's past bedtime. It's past my
It
bedtime.
is. Sorry.
No,
That's
you're
my fault.
okay.
My daughter is
No,
being difficult.
you're fine. It happens. I used to do this all the time in college. I don't know why it's so difficult now. After I do it, he's 2.5. No, sorry, 2. I keep thinking he's older. He's a big kid, so considering he did not fit in his 3 to 4 year old or 3T to 4T Halloween costume.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Those things don't stretch, though.
they don't. And the fake muscles, like he's a little chunkster and it was pulling on weird places. So do you, well, I guess the next one is, do you have any book recommendations to get out of a reading slump that we haven't already talked about?
Whatever you want to read that's tickling your fancy, whether it's something hyped or something it's a tried and true, you love it. If it's just that random book that's been sitting on your shelf for 5 years that's calling to you, or just don't.
Yeah.
Honestly, don't. It's reading. Don't stress yourself out about it. It's not
Yeah.
like your English teacher is gonna come down on you and give you detention.
It's not Macbeth, which if you like to read Macbeth, go for it.
That one's
There's
one of
no
the better
judgment.
Shakespeare's.
Yeah, there is no judgment on what you read. I know for me, it's just sometimes, I go on Amazon and I just have to mood like what sounds good. Do I want a hockey romance? Do I want a mafia like dark romance? Or do I just want a dragon shifter? Like, what do I want to read? And sometimes it's just a random author. I have no idea, you know, who's it from? And sometimes those are the best books to get out of a reading slump because you have no expectations to them. I would also recommend if you are in a reading slump and you're just trying to find like a way out and you want to get out of the reading slump, but you don't know how, try to join a book club, either virtual or in person. Start your own. That way you can just kind of get into different kinds of books. I know that's one thing I love about my book club is it pushes me to read things I don't normally read. So, they are the ones who usually get me to read thrillers or nonfiction. We've read some nonfiction ones. So it's just a matter of, that tends to help. Go to your local library, support your local library, and just browse in the old fashioned way. See what,
See what's
what
been well
covers,
loved.
yeah, what's been well loved, what covers speak to you. That's one of the easiest
Don't
ways to
judge
do
a
it
book
without
by
spend
its
money.
cover.
Oh, we all do. Don't lie.
We do.
But or ask a friend for a book recommendation. Go online, go to Instagram, be like, "Hey, what's your favorite book? Which one would you read?" Just to see if something different, or listen to your favorite book podcast like us.
Hopefully, yes.
But those are just some ideas on how to get out of your reading slump.
And if you're in one, I might suggest On Wings of Blood by Briar Bolin because we are
Yes,
covering
and
it
mine too.
next week on November 10th. It's dropping.
See, you would judge this book by its cover.
I mean, it's got the edges. It's automatically a win.
Dragon scale edges.
And yes, I pre-ordered the other fancy edges the other day.
Oh, I didn't know there was more.
Oh yeah,
I have
all three.
seen. Uh,
Don't tell my
so,
husband, although that email goes to his email, so he already knows it's okay.
oh, you pre-ordered the second and third one coming out? Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I did know those were coming out. I thought you meant another edition.
Oh, no.
But yeah, to get out of a reading slump, highly recommend. We'll talk more about that next episode.
Next week, November 10th. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Reading After Bedtime.
Don't forget to subscribe on all platforms and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And remember to tighten your messy bun, grab a cup of coffee, and show today who's boss. Bye, guys.
Bye.